never became Sergeant Striker.
What did you end up doing in the Marine Corps?
Pardon?
What did you end up doing in the Marine Corps?
I was artillery. I started off in the Marine Corps. I wanted to go to Korea because that's where the war was. That's where the cannons were going. And when I got into the Marine Corps there, they seen 17 years old. They put me on KP for 30 days. Of course, that wasn't to my liking, but it was close to Tijuana. So I was able to dabble in other things. So anyway, after 30 days there, they sent me to advanced infantry in the Marine Corps. And then from there, to 49 Palms, California, where I joined an artillery organization. I don't remember all the outfits I belonged to. I moved around a lot. But this was a 105 howitzer battalion. And I started getting my training there. After 2 years there, my brother happened to come back from Okinawa, and he told me, he says, if you re-enlist for 3 more, you take a short discharge and re-enlist for a short discharge, you can go 3 more years and you go to Okinawa with me. That sounded like I didn't have nothing else going. So I re-enlisted for 3 more years, took me a short discharge. And then after that, I went to Okinawa for a couple of years, and I was in Japan for a year. Then I came back from there. That was very good. That was amphibious training was terrific. I went to Manila, I went to the Philippines, I went to all of those islands. That was great. Even Korea, and we had joint operations and all that. When I came back to the States, my brother told me, he said he's going to Germany. We'll see. So I went to the Marine Corps recruiter, and I told him I wanted to go to Germany. They told me you can go, but the only way you go as embassy duty guard. And I told him, I said, nah, I'm not the Garrett trooper. I don't like garrison at all. So I got out of the Marine Corps. It broke my heart because the Marine Corps is good. And then I went into the Army. In the Army, I requested duty in Germany. At that time, that was the Cold War going pretty strong. More cannon shots over there. So I went over there for, 3 years? Well, for 1 year to start with. I met my brother and all that, and then they built the Berlin Wall.
So this is 1962.
Yeah, that was, and then they informed me that I will be staying there 2 more years, duration of my enlistment. So I stayed there for 2 more years, which was good. I liked Germany and all that. And the Cold War was there. You were available if you were needed. That's all you can be. And then I went back to the United States and got out. Nothing else happening. And then Castro started with his missile strikes. Another sound of cannons. So I said, while I was in Germany, we went to the ammo dump in Wildflicken. And there I met these guys with little green hats. And I said, geez, this look cool, man. I think that's real cool. So I said, I didn't think much of it then, but when I went back to re-enlist, I thought about it. And I said, okay. I said, I'll re-enlist for Special Forces.
Now, how do you apply to the Special Forces program?
You have to go through your commander, and they have the formats and all that. At that time, I don't know how it is today. And so I had to go through my commander, apply for it, and all that stuff. And so I was as force still. It took me a good 6-7 months before I got an answer. And the Special Force representative came down and seen me. He says, look, you got to take tests first, and you got to volunteer for airborne school. No way around it. That's it. I said, okay. So I took a couple of tests, 5 tests, what they call 5 battery tests.
So what kind of tests? Are they physical
all
tests
kinds of
or
weird
paper?
tests. It was nothing you could put your finger on, because it's all to see how you respond or react, or how you do different things. And if they tell you something, what do you see?
So it's like a psychological profile.
Psychological profile, yeah, right. You see how you respond to all that stuff. So to me, they were confusing tests. But I said, I'll do the best I can. That's all I can do. And it looked like it worked out pretty good. I was accepted. I might be a little touched, and that's why. But it worked out pretty good. Then I was given orders to go to Fort Benning Jump School. I went there, then went to Fort Bragg, and I started my Special Forces training.
Now, what was that like?
Weird. It was. They had a lot of what they call it. Operation. They had a clandestine operation, but they had guerrilla tactics, counter guerrilla tactics, all those guerrillas and counter guerrillas, and how do you wheel around conventional forces, and then you had all this other training. You had to go through mountain climbing, halo, all that other stuff, scuba, all that. There's a lot of it was over 2 years of training that I had to learn, and I was only a weapons man. But they give you the small arms of the world in one big book. Whoa! But it works out depending on how you take it, how you perceive it, how do you work with it.
So, does each trooper receive a specific task within the unit? You said that your specialty was weapons?
No, not specific tasks, general tasks all over. We weren't doing any tasks. All we were doing is training for all kinds of activities and stuff. It was, they give us a little labor because we built up a Vietnam camp out in the woods there and all that stuff. And at that time, we weren't familiar with it, but they were getting ready for something. And then they have what they call a Gabriel demonstration area. Now, Special Force had to sell itself at that stage of the game. We weren't really accepted at that time because of our warfare. We were guerrilla warfare. And at that time, an officer came to our organization. He was on his last leg. In other words, next step was out. So we had a demonstration area. They put a 12-man team online, and each one had a spiel to give, and he finished his spiel with a foreign language. Mine was French. So everything went pretty good there. Then I was with the 6th group, and then all of a sudden I heard the 5th group was going to Vietnam. This is in '65. I said, whoa, the cannons. So I volunteered for it. And at that time they said, no, they have a full regiment. So okay, they didn't say nothing right away. I kept my training going. And then all of a sudden they started looking for replacements. I guess they were moving faster than we thought. So they sent me over there as a replacement. And as a replacement, they sent me on an A site, which is our big call as far as Special Forces goes. We're there to train and help the people of that country and all that, the independent, the people. So I went on an A site and we trained them and all that. We were training them, we're taking them out, taking them down. They weren't all the Vietnamese that I dealt with were not all on top of everything.
So were you training the ARVN or the LLDB at this point?
LLDB.
Okay. And can you say for the camera?
Look long, dog Viet. Then they were more, I don't know if they learned it from the Americans or what, but they liked the black market real bad. So I had challenges with that, and I overcame those challenges like everything else.
Now, where was this compound?
The what?
The A site.
The A site is Camp Kanak, 2-corps area. It's a Camp 2, Camp Kanak. That's my first A team. My team sergeant was Sergeant Wiley Gray. We already lost him to cancer, unfortunately, but he was a good man. And then, of course, he left the camp before I had opportunity to leave it, but I didn't know why he left, but he was gone all of a sudden because they didn't confide in the low guys. They just wanted to keep our weapons clean and our mortars ready. So after a while, the commo man came up to me and he says, they're looking for volunteers. I said, oh, volunteers for what? Delta Project. What's Delta Project? I don't know, but they're looking for volunteers. Looks like a good thing. I don't know. I said, well, I'll see what I can get out there. This is humdrum work. So I went there and volunteered. I told my commander I would volunteer there. He says, Cap didn't care. He was doing his job. He had people and everything else. So he said, yeah, go ahead. So I went to Delta Project.
What year was this?
What a year? This is 66.
Okay.
The first part of 66. And when I got there, I didn't get no warm reception at all. I thought the guys wanted volunteers, and everybody cold shoulders piss out of me, you know? Yeah. So I didn't think nothing about it. So they said, well, a lot of them are out on operation right now. They'll come back and we'll talk. I said, all right. I said, could I get a pass? He says, yeah, but don't go to that certain place because it's off limits. Oh, okay. So I found out where that place is. Yeah, I went.
Where was he trying to keep you away from?
The house of ill repute.
I see.
But I've been out on the east side now for a long time. Anyway, I went down there and see what kind of trouble I can get into. And I got in trouble. The MPs came in there, surrounded the place, and I surrounded the MPs. But they were Americans. I didn't want to do nothing, no harm to anybody, so I let them go. They brought me back to camp. My commander says, you wait till the guys come back from the woods. I said, oh, shit, I'd probably never make Delta now. But I was the type of person they were looking for. And I didn't know it. Resourceful. That's it. So when they came back, I had to go through a kangaroo court. My peers, or 01, or what they call team leaders, or recon team leaders, had to ask me questions and all that and find out why I wanted to go there. To begin with, I told them I didn't even know anything about this. They just said Delta Project, so I said, yeah, I'll go. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know nothing about this place. He says, okay. So they start briefing me and everything else. Then they'd ask me the questions. So, because it was a very top secret organization at the time. They didn't let no information out at that time. Very secretive.
Now, were they under control of the Army or the CIA at that point?
Pardon?
Now, were they taking orders from the Army or the CIA at that
No,
point?
they were still with Special Forces.
Okay.
They only had a few commanders there. I got the whole history on that in that book. And they'll tell you everything on that. But I don't, all I know, I wasn't involved in none of that headquarters stuff. The only thing, I was the field end of it. That's hind quarter. But when they told me, let's go, I went. That's it. And I liked the guys I served with. They opened me up. One guy volunteered to take me out on my first mission. He was my mentor. His name was Joe Alderman.
Now, when you talk about the kangaroo courts, what would need to occur before they would let you out into the field with these teams?
Huh?
When you're talking about your kangaroo courts,
Yeah.
what would need to be resolved? What would need to be proven before you could go out with
Yeah,
the
well,
field?
first of all, I had to get sponsored.
Right.
Okay. Now, what I didn't know was that my team sergeant out of Camp Kanak was also team sergeant in Delta Project. I didn't know that's where he went when he left the team. That's where he went. While we're at Camp Kanak, I got in a little scrape with my counterpart, and I got my head beamed up with shrapnel.
Oh, can you tell us that story, please?
Oh, yeah, we were out there on an operation in Camp Kanak, and we were looking for intelligence information. And this mountain guard girl was way down pretty far out. I said, well, I'll go catch her. I was still pretty good shape and all that. So I started running out there, and just before I got her, an M79 round blast slammed in the ground right in front of me. And a piece of shrapnel hit me in the forehead and flipped me back a couple of times before it killed the girl. And I shook my head a little bit. Didn't knock me out. I was pretty hard-headed. And I shook my head a little bit. I seen blood, and I said, oh, shit. So I started walking back there, and the one that fired that round was really moving out. He didn't want to hang around and see me at all. So anyway, they sewed me up. They picked me up and all that. And after they sewed me up, my team sergeant, Wally Gray, came over to see me. He says, how you doing? I said, I'm doing all right. And he said, so what are you going to do now? I said, I want to know how I can re-enlist in Vietnam. He just flipped out and left. You're crazy. That was my nature. I'm gonna tell him I was scared or worried or none of that stuff. And that's when I met him back in Delta Project.
Right.
And that's, he remembered that. He says, he'll do it. He vouches for me. And then after he vouched for me, the team, Joe Alderman, he was a hardcore professional. He's only a corporal. That's because he kept on going out every 3 years to go to college, then come back in. Then go out 3 years, go to another college, and come back in. He didn't make no rank, but he got educated, and he was skilled, very skilled. And so he took me out of my first operation. I thought it was great, man. I was the master.
What type of mission were you guys
We were
asked to perform?
intelligence, yeah. I don't remember all of it because it's so far back. But I know most of our missions are intelligence, no direct action. Because all they want is information. If we happen to find something big and clustered, then we could call an airstrike on it. They'll diminish the size. But just for our average mission is intelligence only. So this was this hard snooping, pooping there and let nobody see you. But that's what it was. We did a good job. We were highly skilled individuals, well motivated, everything.
And what type of, what part of Southeast Asia were you monitoring then?
The what?
What country were you monitoring then? Was it all of Vietnam or?
Yeah, all of Vietnam. Well, we stayed on the border, in the borders of Vietnam. We weren't supposed to be allowed to go across because of our, I don't know, the unit or something. I don't know. I think MACV had the other side if they wanted it. But at that time it was all hush-hush, quiet, secret stuff, you know. So we didn't know that. We didn't know half of it. So I stayed with them for a long time. And finally, it's time for me to move again. So I asked to move out. And they says, I sure want to go. Well, what it was is the new team sergeant, which is a recon team sergeant, and I did not see eye to eye. When I told him I want out, that's what I wanted. I didn't want him to give me a bunch of shit and tell me to go over there, go over there, go over there. No, I wanted out. There's something I knew that he didn't know, and I couldn't put it on the radio. But I don't know what he was trying to do. I guess he's trying to grease his own pencil, I don't know. But I told him, I said, you do that to me again, and I'm out of here. He said, well, you might as well get out now. I said, bye. I said, I went to CCC.
I see that on your shirt. Can you explain what that is?
Huh?
I see the letters on your shirt, CCC.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, they got this shirt. What it is, the unit got this, what they call a presidential unit citation not long ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. And when they got this, they let us all know that they had it, and that if we wanted to buy a shirt, we could buy the shirt, you know. So I said, yeah, give me one. And I told them I was CCC and all that.
So what exactly is CCC?
CCC is control, central control. What's CCC?
Communications?
Central control, yeah. That was all it is. Actually, is a MACV trying to control. They were giving the control to different organizations, which was CCN, CCC, the CCS.
So north, central, and
yeah,
south?
So central control for south, for middle, actually central. Central control, central, I don't know, something like that. I get all confused with those numbers.
And what were your duties like in CCC?
Pardon?
What were your duties in CCC?
Hatchet team leader.
What is a hatchet team?
A hatchet team is going out there and accumulating information and maybe a few heads.
Hence the
Whatever
hatchet.
came first.
So would that be
But
prison?
they had they were having challenges on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and they were getting kicked out. And the guy I took his places just got shot up, and so they made me train some mountain yards, and I went down there with the mountain yards, and I fell right in line. But there wasn't a lot of activity on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So, but there was only a few snipers, and one of them got me. So they pulled me out of there. And,
Where were you wounded? Where were you wounded?
in the upper part of my thigh, very close. And, but not close enough. And so I got medevac to Cameron Bay. There I went to Tripler Hospital in Hawaii. Oh boy, look, the whole girls there, my God. From hell to heaven, one step.
So what was it like working with indigenous troops?
What?
What was it like working with indigenous troops?
Very challenging. The biggest thing on that I found that is communication. Now they give you interpreters and all that stuff. You can't trust interpreters. You can't trust what they repeat or what they say and everything else. I was working with some mountain guards, and they were taught by a Canadian priest.
So were you able to communicate with them in French?
Direct, because they understood the Canadian French, and I would talk to them, and then I try to get the interpreter to interpret for them, but everything he was saying was muddled. In other words, they weren't saying nothing like that. And I said, I got their number. And on top of that, I found that a lot of people don't trust interpreters. No, it's that they don't know where they're from or who they are. Now, we might trust them, but not everybody trusts them. So I was able to make direct contact with the mountain guard. I got a lot of information for them. It was very useful. And, to me, that was great. So, but interpreters are all right. But if you could do it yourself, it's much, much better.
Now, how would these troops be recruited and equipped?
The what?
Who would recruit these troops, the Montagnards?
What's wrong with them?
How would they be recruited? How would you end up working with them?
Oh, they're troopers to our troops.
Hmm.
That when you hire a mountain guard, the whole family goes with it. That's it. Wife, children, everybody. You don't just hire one person, you hire the whole family. That's it. Then we used to put them on our berm as security, and the families were there with them. Oh yeah. One time we were during a rainy season, we lost a child. The only thing we had was bach. Bach is like a spam. And that's all we had for about a month. And I'd go down to the yards, and they'd all be eating all kinds of stuff. I said, how come you guys got this? They show us little short crossbows, and they'd be shooting birds. Good meat. Closest thing to chicken you can get. So I asked them, can you give me a couple? Yeah. 3 birds, boom, like that. Holy crap, these guys are eating better than I am.
So now, how would they be paid?
How they picked? I don't know everything about it. I just know that they go to certain villages and they volunteer most of it, depending on what they got going too. And if Charlie's scaring them, they'll come in fast. But if Charlie ain't bothering them, then without cause, they have to have a reason why they do things. I encountered one time, and you think they're very resourceful. I encountered one time, and we used to give them like old weapons, Korean weapons, like carbines, grease guns, and stuff like that. But we try to teach them how to clean and all that. They only do so much, and they're not really strong on it. So I had this one guy with a grease gun, had a magazine that long for that grease gun. He had it, but he's been there for a long time. And 45 caliber ammunition compresses your springs to the point where they no longer have spring in them. All the spring is sprung. So anyway, we got in the firefight. He was going, bum, 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 bum. I said, no, you got a magazine. I said, so he just flipped upside down, gravity fed. Boom, 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 boom. Oh no, shit. That guy was right. He had himself together.
It's quick thinking.
Huh?
That's quick thinking.
Quick thinking. I never expected him to do anything like that, but he understood gravity.
So, when you're working with them, would they be mixed in among one of your teams, one of your A teams?
No,
Or were you-
they're with the team now. Okay,
Okay.
they will have 3 of them and 2 of us. Always 2 Americans together.
Okay.
Always. But you have 3 of, depending on the area you're in, you try to find the people who are indigenous to that area, like in the hills, mountain yards, lowland, the Vietnamese, and things of that nature. So that's what you work with, indigenous people, to the area you're going in, because they're more familiar with it.
So now, as a member of the Special Forces, did you receive any special equipment, any specialized equipment for your duties?
We experimented with some off-the-wall stuff. We experimented. General Electric came in there and they wanted to try out this new compact square. And I said, what's that? He said, no, don't worry about it. I just want you to bring it in the woods and all that. All it does is tell you where you're at. I said, it ain't going to blow up on my back, is it? He said, no, nothing like that. I said, okay, I'll try it. So I went in there and we run a recon on it anyway. And came back with pretty good recon. Didn't find nothing. So we came back. He said, boy, you jump on that little cube. I said, what the hell is this? I didn't know till just lately, not too long ago, a couple of years, that thing was GPS in large form. Because that's all they were talking about. It'll identify your position wherever you're at all times.
Some kind of satellite guidance?
Right. So that's what it was. And I didn't know. I never even heard of GPS till not too long ago. They started coming out strong. But that's what it was. They were playing with it at that time. Maybe it went into a greater field. I don't know. And also at that time was that there was 67. It was transition going from cotton to nylon. And that's what we were doing. They were giving us different rucksacks, try them out and see how they worked and all that. So we were experimenting with a lot of new stuff, but within limitation. They even had this guy, what's his name? Errol Flynn. You ever hear of Errol Flynn?
The actor.
Okay, his son.
Was a photographer.
Huh?
He was a photographer in Vietnam.
He never came back from Vietnam.
No.
He tried to come in with our team. And we said, no, we can't let you in with our team. He says, well, why not? I says, you're not trained enough for that. He says, well, we depend on every one of us, and every one of us works it out. And he says, well, all right. So he must have went in with somebody else. He never came back.
They never recovered his body.
Never heard of nothing. And, not hurt us, but we had to take care of the team first and our mission. That was priorities. So,
Now, how often would you perform these missions?
huh?
How often would you perform these missions when you're in country?
We have different missions, depends on what it is. I'd say we go out to an FOB, what they call a field operational base. Okay, from there we would run missions. It depends on our AO, what they call our area of operation. Okay, now we have to check out this whole area, and so they would tube it out for each individual team until we get it all checked out. It depends on how big the area is and how many teams it took to get in there and out. So the team would stay in there for at least a week or so, and then get that little section, another team like that. That's how. Once that area was cleaned out or checked out, then this is more for a conventional organization that wanted to make an infiltration, a force infiltration there, and they wanted to know what was there before they go in, and that's what it is. That's what we did.
So how would your team be infiltrated?
How's what?
How is your team infiltrated? How did you
by
make it?
by chopper all the time, depending on the LZ, what we call the LZ landing zone. If it was too much uprising there, we'd probably go in there by rappel, or we just get high off the ground and jump in. We've done that a lot of times because all that extra equipment just gets in your way. But you could take a good 10-foot fall with no problem. Well, you roll. You go PLF, what they call a PLF, parachute landing fall.
That's right.
So yeah, you learn how you build up to all this stuff here. Plus the adrenaline going through your body at that time. Infiltration is the most hazardous point of that whole mission. Infiltration. If you can get in there without Charlie spotting you, you're doing good. But if he spots you and you start running, you can run for weeks. Oh yeah, he'd be on your tail, and he has dogs, everything else. We carry a little extra pepper. Dogs love it.
So did that ever happen to you?
No, but I did get caught in the monsoon, and when it was raining, and they couldn't come and get me, and Charlie was on my back tail. And it took me, well, a good 10 days. We ran out of chow, and what we used to do to sleep, we go on the side, a real steep side of a hill, and we take our military belts off and hook it up to a branch, a small branch, and that's how we sleep. This way we're not at the bottom, and we're not on the top. And Charlie can't understand that. Get up before first light and move on.
So, how was it just you, or were you in a team? I'm sure during this situation, how many of you were out there running away?
Huh?
How many of you were out there during that mission? Was
On
it
that
this-
mission, only one team. It was four. It was like, yeah, four indigenous and 2 Americans. Always 2 Americans.
Were most of your operations run with only 2 Americans?
At least 2 Americans, not all the time all Americans. At least 2 Americans. The reason for this is just sometimes that those troops, you can only trust them so far because they're not Americans. They're not brothers, so to speak. Their ass is at stake. They might move it out, and if they do, say they decide to cut out on you, you're getting a good firefight. They decide on cutting out on you. The Americans, all they do is they let them go, then we hide, so that they make all the racket and get chased. Use them as decoys. Why not? They're not going to stay here and fight. Might as well be a decoy. But that's what it is. But mostly, they used to run all American teams. But they found that just as good to get the LLDB involved. They started getting some good LLDB at the end there, though. They started to shape up, and they were, what they call it, right down to the muscle there. They were doing good jobs.
How do you think they motivated them by the end of the war?
Training, and that's about it. It's all the only thing you could do is motivate by training, get equipment, training, stuff like that, and tell them how we're doing it. Keep them informed. Take them into your fold. But there's always a little reservations for you and another American. You don't completely train them all. Train them as far as you can trust them. That's it. But you always have something to fall back for 2 Americans all the time. That's the only defense you have. You get out there, that's it.
Now, if you need an emergency extraction, how quickly could the Army come in and pick you up?
They call them for the FAC aircraft. Forward Air Control, Air Force, and you let them know that you need an emergency out, and they say, okay, we're with your LZ. They said, we'll give you a light, or we'll give you a flare. We have different signals we use. We have mirrors, we have flare pistols, and you don't want to use too much smoke because that gives you away for Charlie too. So you don't know, depending on the situation you're in. And so you go out there, you tell them that we can't find no opening. They say, okay, what do you want? Tell them, give us a couple of Maguires, depending on the people, right? You say, you're going to be able to take care of them over there. So, okay, you tell them, okay, we've got a couple of trees we're going to knock down when you come. How are you going to knock them down? Claymore, small arms. You could shoot a tree down. Automatic fire right across like that, just like cutting it down. Yeah. And then the Claymore, of course, is a big bang, but the tree does go. And so we knock those down, they throw down the ropes, hook up, you're out. Very fast. But you don't do nothing until they're within sight. They're in sight, bang, 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 right down the line. Very professional.
Now, do you have any particularly memorable experiences in country?
Oh God, yes. My mind is full of memorable experiences. What kind are we talking about?
Probably particularly combat-related
Oh,
experiences.
combat related. Yeah, yeah. I had a few problems there, but you remember the bad ones more than you do the good ones because they stay closer in your mind. And to me, as I lost a few good friends. One of them, we were on a hatchet team. I wasn't in charge of that one. And another sergeant in charge. And what we didn't. We come on a bunker and didn't even know the bunker was there because we were all in high grass. And we come up there, all of a sudden this machine gun come out. And my point man was a medic Stevens. He was there, and boom, he got it right away. And we seen him go down, good medic. And so one of the guys went over there to get him and all that. And then more automatic fire opened up. And it just so happened that I was behind a big anthill. These anthills about 5 feet high and thick. And we all went down. When we went down, about this far from the ground, all the little leaves were cut off the stems of this elephant grass. All you see is little stalks, and you can see right through it, all the way down to the range of the perfect firing range. And I'd never seen anything like that before. And they had that set up big time for some big stuff. And I was so aghast, it was unreal. So my buddy, Bernie Newman, he says, I'll take care of their butt. He took a WP grenade, tied it onto a claymore, you know what a claymore, and he put it in front of the anthill, and he blew it. Now, you're blowing all that WP onto their embedment, and all that stuff is going to go. It's going to burn. It's going to burn. It's going to burn. And so that's one way he was trying to break contact. Everybody on that operation got wounded. The team sergeant got hit in the head. He was beyond control anymore. He couldn't even think. So I took charge of it. When I took charge of it, I made sure that Stephen's body got out of there first. I pulled him back, and then after that, we started getting the men together. I got on the radio and got a hold of Fast Mover, Smokey, and I told Smokey where we were at, what kind of fix we were in and all that. He come down and he said, okay, I'm going to shoot at WP, tell me where you're from that. And he did. And from there I gave him the coordinates and everything, and the big Fast Mover started coming down. And I said, now we need some ships, everybody's wounded. We need some Hueys, everybody here is wounded. Okay, I'm on the way. So that's Boat Rights organization. Everything was right there all the time. And they came in with those the Hueys, picked us all up. Then they went back in there for another operation. That was a major headquarters for Charlie, for an organization that Charlie had. And he had all kinds of documents and everything there. They got enough information out of that to find out everything in 3 Corps. I was surprised, but it just hit it by chance. That was the biggest I've ever remembered, but it didn't start good. That was quite an experience, I'll tell you. I won't forget it.
Now you're talking about intelligence gathering. When you're gathering intelligence,
yeah.
Besides finding these communications bunkers, how else would you be able to eavesdrop or find out what the enemy is planning to do?
You tape their commo. Yeah. You could. What you do, you get the recorders and put it on their commo, and just don't hang around there. Just cover it all up, then leave. Come back next day, pick up all the recordings and all that. And you don't want to give yourself away and all that unless you got a commo guy coming down. And of course you might use him as a POW. But you get your recordings first, priority. They do come down, they did check the commo lines out, make sure. Then if you want to just draw one out, what you do, you take a little pin and you push, the commo wire has 2 wires and they're wrapped like this. You take a pin and you go right through both of them at one time. And that blocks them. That messes them right up. So they'll come out and check out their wire. It works.
Now, how would you evacuate a prisoner once you've taken?
No, you put a sack over their head first thing, like tie them up and strip them down. You don't want to take a chance with them at all. And then after that, the chopper comes. Him and one man gets on first to make sure. Then whatever it could fit on there, whatever it can't, we'll get the next chopper. But getting them out of there is no problem. You always have a chopper. You have a pre-designated LZ anyway, or landing zone that we know where to go to and all that. The only thing is, when you get to it, you got to make sure you look around it, make sure there's nothing there waiting for you. They think you're in the area. They look for all these open spots, and that's what you got to watch out. And just like that, setting up a booby trap with a stick hooked up to a pin, and with claymore or bomb, whatever they have there, a grenade, and the wind blows that down, pulls the pin, and boom, goes.
Did you ever have any difficult exfiltrations?
Pardon?
Did you ever have any difficult exfiltrations?
Oh yes, we had some of the ships were all shot up. We had even some of the guys didn't quite make it to it. We had to pull them, throw them in, and all that stuff. And yeah, we had a lot of trouble. I'll tell you, it took some brave chopper pilots. I mean, brave, to come down and get us. And we had the guys from 281st. Our life depended on them all the time, and they were superior. They excelled in all their work, and they would never leave us behind, never. They get shot up. We even lost a few planes out there, but they'd come in and get us every time. That was our lifeline as far as getting out. You know, when you could rely on people like that, you can go a little bit further, do a little bit more. And that's what we were doing. A little bit further and a little bit more. It worked out good.
Definitely.
I think we worked well together. Because as long as we're not scared of each other, we protect each other, cover each other's back. That's the way it works.
Now, I'm sure, did you ever perform any missions where you helped recover air crew or bring air crew out of
Well,
out of
there's
jungle?
one I did, I didn't go after them. As a matter of fact, I fell with them. I got my chopper shot out from under me. Excuse me.
Oh.
And what happened? It was along the Parrots Beak inside in Tainan area. B-36 had a picnic going. Excuse me. We used to call these encounters picnics. But we had a picnic going, and we were dancing with the bear. And so when that happens, they need some resupplies and stuff. It just so happened I just come back from a mission, and I was back at the base camp. So they told me, get a chopper in, give us some ammo. So what kind? 5.56 or whatever it took, whatever they wanted. So, okay, coming. So I got their chopper. No sooner did I get all that stuff, the chopper come in, boom, boom, we loaded up, and I went. I didn't have half my field gear on me. All I had my harness, my weapon, and ammo. And we went out there. Yeah, they were shooting. They had them across the river, the Saigon River. They had them across the river. They had them there. They had them nailed down pretty good. A big organization, and they had them on their knees pretty much. They were hurting for ammunition. They were right in the middle of a big picnic. And so I told them, okay, let's go down over here. We'll drop, where do you want the ammo? I told him we had communication. I told him, where do you want ammo? He said, over there. Okay, so I started bringing the chopper there, and bang, all of a sudden shit hit the fan. Boom, you come right down. I don't know what they hit or what happened, but we went right down, whoa. And so we got out pretty good. I didn't want to hang around in there, but I had to get all that ammo out of there. I don't want to lose it. So I got all that ammo out, and after that I went to see the pilot, the co-pilot, and all them guys. I said, you guys all right? They said, yeah, we're all right, but I don't know about the bird. I had don't worry about the bird. Let's still worry about ourselves today. So I got in touch with somebody else, another helicopter. I said, look, we got some of your people here. We need them out of here. They're not fit for this type of work. Yeah, we know. So they come pick them up. And as they were flying away, I showed them one tracer, a bullet tracer, and I went like that in my gun and I pointed at the chopper. I said, "You want me to blow it?" He said, "No." They said, "We'll come back later and pick it up." I said, "Okay." That's all I need to know. So I went back to see my buddies. I wasn't about to leave them there like that.
Did you feel during the war that you were well equipped, that you had enough supplies, had enough ammunition?
Well, let's just put it this way. Whatever equipment they gave me was sufficient. All extra or special equipment I created or made or somebody else did. So they could never possibly furnish us with the same equipment we need like the conventional force. These conventional forces did a different kind of warfare. They had what they needed. Me, like that M79 that's cut down for, the only reason I used that was to break contact. And I'm not a continuous defensive weapon. It could be if I have to, but the only reason I had it was to break contact. And that's why I modified it for that purpose. Now, everybody had some type of weapon they modified or worked with. And you'd be surprised the stuff they came out with. Them. These guys had an imagination you wouldn't believe, but they made it do. They made it do with what the government gave us. We improvised, modified. Of course, we could have gone to jail for destroying government property. But it worked.
Would you wear body armor in the field?
No, we didn't even wear helmets. We had to blend in with the indigenous. They didn't wear helmets. We didn't wear helmets. And they were too heavy anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, the point of your missions was almost in a way not to engage in combat, right? It was mostly intelligence gathering. If the mission went well.
Mostly yes. That's what depending on the mission, like I say, most of the missions were intelligence gathering. And that's what we wanted. We wanted the information from that area to pass on to somebody else so they can use it according to what they want. And that's basically what we had as far as Delta Project went. Now, when I was with B-36, we had what you call hatchet teams. Now, these hatchet teams were not only intelligence gathering, but they were POW snatch also. So this is a whole new, different type of mission, you know. And the only reason you can use it is if they needed some information from somebody, and they asked us, "Let's go get some POWs." Go down the road and get a POW, will you? You know, oh yeah. But that's what they depended on us to do that. So we gear up. We found out which roads are easily, mostly used, marked, and everything else. You set up like a snatch, a POW snatch. But you got to watch out. It might be a point for a larger unit. Now, you catch Peter here, and here comes Peter's buddies. Oh, that happened for me.
That sounds like a true story.
Huh?
That sounds like a true story.
Yeah, it's pretty hairy, all right. That's why you got to be alert. You got to make sure whenever you catch them here, you have to know somebody far enough down there to look and see what they got. But you never know which side they're going to come from. So you're spreading your team out at this time. Rough.
I can imagine. So, were you ever on missions looking for American prisoners of war?
No, not American prisoners. I volunteered to go when they went to that big one up North Vietnam. But, they already had a team set up for it, and they wouldn't let me go. But I was volunteered for body recovery, which was picking up the Americans left behind by Charlie, and was not a very pleasant experience. They talk about torture. These guys knew how to do it. They tortured our Americans. Of course, the media will never tell you about that. They're too busy telling everybody how Americans tortured them. But we found one POW, or not a POW, a body, He had both his hands and his feet cut off. And you could tell he crawled until he died. We recovered that body. And then they had another one with a bag over his head. And looked like somebody shoved a rat up there. So the rat had to eat his way out through the neck. And he was dead too. Then we went into the wetlands. In the wetland, they had those big lizards, and they were chomping down on American bodies all over the place. But nobody volunteered for that. You, and you. That's it. You know, that's the only thing I even become related with that. And of course, we told each other this is we were not going to be POWs, regardless. We were all definitive on that. And we're dealing with that stuff. My only big fear when I was running on recon was getting caught with my pants down. So, hey, I'm not kidding. We took tablets. They call them no-shoot tablets.
So you'd be constipated?
Okay. We did.
You had another story involving that. With Bo Gritz.
Colonel Bo Gritz?
Yeah, there you
go.
go.
Man. Yeah, the Colonel. And we were up in the plane there, and we were talking. He liked me as a recon man. He had a lot of faith in me and all that. We were going there, and all of a sudden, the chopper came down. We got shot out. The chopper came down, and he looked at me, kind of worried look. I said, "What's the matter, Commander?" He says, I think I got hit in the ass. I said, "Oh my God." I said, let's check it out. See, well, you have to find out what's wrong before you can fix it. So he took his K-bar and he sliced his ass out, his pants out, so he could see his wound. And all I seen was brown stuff come out of there. I told him, "You didn't get shot. You just shit your pants." Oh, good. Poor guy. Poor guy. I try not to tell nobody that story.
Now, speaking of...
He's a good commander. I don't care the shit what anybody says about him. While he was in Vietnam, while I was serving under him, Colonel Bo Gritz was one of the best commanders I ever had. And he protected you, took care of you, and gave you whatever you needed to do the job. That's my word there. After that, I can't say nothing. For that period, strong.
Do you have any other funny stories? Any other humorous events?
I have one, but it's a little gory. I don't know if you could take a gory one.
A gory one?
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Okay, we had a doc, a medic. His name was Marquis, right? And he was a little more, he's more of an animal type person, and he didn't get along with everybody, and he did weird stuff, And so we were at the Saigon bar one night, and we were sitting drinking, and he felt mellow. He didn't want nobody to bother him, he just wanted to drink. So his mama-san behind the bar, she kept on saying, "You buy my parakeet, you buy my parakeet." He said, "Mama-san, get away from me, I don't want your parakeet." "You buy my parakeet." And she kept on bugging him, All of a sudden she got a phone call, so she turned around and started talking on the phone. And then she comes back, she says, "Now," she looked on the bar, all her parakeets were lied out with no heads. That's what I think about your parakeets. But like I say, he's one of many.
So that ties into the next one. What were some of the pranks that you'd pull?
The what?
Some pranks that you and your fellow soldiers would pull. Pranks, practical jokes.
What?
Like a prank, like a practical
Oh,
joke.
pranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got one, especially against an officer. Yeah, I woke you up, huh? Well, what it is this, we come back from an operation, we were out there for a couple of months and all that, we come back and our tongue's hanging out for a beer or something. And we get to the club and all of a sudden they see, all we have is 55-gallon drums outside full of ice and beer. I says, "Well, why can't we go in the club and drink? It's cool down." She says, "Oh, we're renovating your club." you're renovating our club, so we can't go in there and drink. He said, that's right. That's the way it is. I said, all right. So we went there to see the officers about it. I said, sir, this is not right. They shouldn't be doing that while we're on stand down like this. They do that while we're out in the woods and all that stuff, not while we're back here. He said, well, that's the way it is, coming in from headquarters. I said, all right. So at that night, the officers club had a couple of round eyes, well, we call them round-eyed American girls, and they were there patronizing their club and all that, and all these officers were having a great time. We weren't happy about it, so we put a couple of CS grenades on their air conditioner. Needless to say, before the night was out, we had a lot of company out there by the barrels. Because that CS gets on the walls, it ain't coming off. They definitely tried hard to find out. They interrogated all of us. But when you're a unit, you're a unit.
So would you find that that would often be a point of conflict, relationships between officers and enlisted men?
No, just one instant, stuff like that. Most of the officers are pretty good. There's always a few who try to excel at our expense, and all that stuff. The senior NCOs, you find that they got a lot of what savoir-faire. And they'll take so much, and after that, that's it. They'll even inform the officers, look, sir, this is enough. I think we went far enough with this that we shouldn't go any further with this. And the officers, if they pursue it or they insist on pursuing it, then they're going to have to pay the price for it, because the only way an officer can get anything done is by an NCO directing it or controlling it. An officer can do it. You get out there, talk to the men, but he don't know the men. He don't know how they function. There's so many things they don't know about enlisted men that's unreal. And most of as far as special force goes, most of the NCOs are senior NCOs. So, yeah, oh yeah.
So, if you'd like to tell the camera some of your special duties involving butter bars, wouldn't they usually, they would attach you, the young lieutenants? Like how would this, you would usually end up putting these men through the motions?
With this?
With fresh lieutenants, straight out of school.
Oh, second lieutenants?
Yep.
Oh, that's Colonel Bo Grice again, this guy there. He give his heart to you, but boy, you take it out and trade later. He would assign young lieutenants to me, and we call them butter bars, first lieutenants and all that. They haven't had no experience, no nothing. They're just there, but they had good training as far as the book goes and all that. And the colonel would tell us, look, Lieutenant, you're assigned to that sergeant. Until that sergeant tells me you're ready to lead, you just listen to him, let him take charge, and you watch him. And we'll work together, And it's okay, so. That colonel always had more lieutenants come out to me to take care of me. I felt like I had calluses under my armpits. You put them under your armpit to carry them, but after a while they get hurt. You get enough of them. There's some of them. One of them even got killed because he didn't pay attention. He went up a rope ladder, but he went up the rope ladder wrong. He had a backpack with a radio on it, and he went up like this. And you don't go a rope ladder on a helicopter straight out like that. You hit it on the sides. This way it doesn't kick out, and all the weight's not on your arms. And that way there you're going up sideways. And it's much easier than going like that with your legs kicking out. If you have somebody holding it's one thing, but you don't always have what you want. Yeah, I had a lot of calluses on my wings, but yeah, I got a lot of them through, and they were good. They were good officers. They just needed something to get them introduced to it. That's all. Then let them know that their book is not the Bible. It's a guide. You use that only as a guide. Use common sense for the rest.
So, was there anything special you did for good luck while you were in Vietnam?
Yeah. Well, I was there. I had St. Christopher Medal. I wore that a long time. I come back. My little girl, my granddaughter, the youngest one, she come up to me. She said, "Do you have anything for me?" Well, I said, "I don't know. What do you got? What do you want?" And she said, "I don't know. Something that'd give me good luck." Oh, that dawned on me right there because I always wore it. I said, "Well, I'll put it this way, Becky. If you promise to keep this, you can have it. But you've got to keep it. You can't give it away. It's my lucky, lucky charm." She looked at me, big eyes. And, okay. So I gave it to her. That was my lucky charm. Of course, my buddy did the rest of it.
Now, what did you do for entertainment when you weren't on missions?
Huh?
What did you do for entertainment when you weren't on missions?
Oh, a stand down. Yeah,
Stand down.
it's always a good conversational piece. Well, we used to have the club, and every once in a while, if we were going to be there for a little while, they'd get some shows on for us. Maybe the Australians or some Korean or some kind of a show, like a USO show, you know. And they'd come out there. And one time they had Australian came down there. The woman was a snake charmer, and she would rattle around with that snake and all that. The band would be playing all that special music and all that, you know. And one of the guys in the back says, "Take it off." And she said, "Oh no, I don't take it off." She says, "Well, you did in the officers club." That was it. That started the whole ball going. She was playing too many games. So they streaked the club. A couple of guys, I wouldn't know their name. Then, of course, they had a big thing on who streaked the club? Who streaked? A big interrogation. I said, "Holy crap, man. That sounds like a World War II. They're trying to get all these." No, that's pretty good. That livened it up. Mostly, you know, we had all this entertainment and stuff like that, but it didn't liven it up unless we got involved. That's what made the whole thing going.
So, did they schedule all these events to keep you guys? Did they schedule all these events, all this entertainment to keep you guys busy when you weren't in the field?
I don't know. We don't know what happened while we were out in the woods. We were out there. We were isolated from headquarters. They had a few communications there, but as far as what we knew, nothing happened. You know, they might have. We don't know. They might have used our club against them. You know, yeah, we don't know. These guys here, they call it the Mess Association.
Mess Association.
So that's because we were on what do they call it, rations or
right
on yeah. We were getting paid for our rations. So the Mess Association took over and they started making elaborate moves and stuff like that. They never went out in the woods, never seen a wild tree, but they were there functional at the club. And they're the one that decided to change our club around. Of course, after a while there, that was it. No, had nothing to do with them anymore. They called them the Mess Association. The Mess Association. They're still alive. We know where they're at. I know where they live.
So with the entertainment on base, did you ever get to go on leave while you were in country?
Yes. Whenever we caught a POW, they give us R&R, the country of our choice, depending on how valuable the POW was. Right? Most of the time, I got to Taiwan, Taipei. I even went to Bangkok a couple of times. Special Force had a hotel there all lined up all the time. We just went there and dropped our gear. We'd always welcome there and all that. And they were unconventional like us. I won't say no more. Because we had one colonel's kid come over there, and at the time there was hippies, you know, long-haired hippies and all that. And the colonel's kid come over, they wanted to use the pool. And one of the sergeants looked at him and said, "You need a haircut, boy." He said, nah. He started bad mouthing them and all that stuff. I said, how come you get all that bad mouth on you? My father, the colonel, you know, one of those numbers. He said, come here, I'll show you. Pulled out a knife, you know, one of those long knives. Look, see this? Yeah, what about it? He just pulled the kid down, boom, and shaved his head. He went back home to see his father bald as a cue ball. Oh yeah. That was Thailand. Needless to say, he never went swimming there again. That Taiwan didn't have no special place in Taiwan, but I like Taiwan. I got a few souvenirs from them and all that stuff. They do pretty good. I used to talk to a girl behind the bar all the time, and she worked behind the bar to learn English, and that's what she was doing. But she didn't play no hanky-panky with the guy, so the guy didn't really bother with her too much, you know. But I thought it was interesting, you know. I said the girl was trying to get something going and all that. So I don't mind. I think education's a goal. That's it. So I talked to her a lot. But she was happy taking doo-doo.
Speaking of education, did you ever use the GI Bill?
Yes, I did. But before I could use the GI Bill, I had to get a GED. I got that when I was in the service. And I needed that just to get in the Green Berets. If I didn't get that, I would have never made it in the Green Berets, Special Forces. So I used that for that. Then when I came out, I used the GI Bill to get a new trade. I went in at 17 years old. The only one that would hire me after I come out was the mafia. So I wasn't really up to that. You can't trust those guys. So I knew I needed a new skill and all that. So I went out and I started welding. I learned how to weld. I worked on the Navy ships, submarines, stuff like that. And then I came to Connecticut and got a job over at a sheet metal shop in Cromwell. And they told me, they said, well, we'll help you with your education, get your skill and your certificate. So I got that, and I used up 4 years of my stuff, and then after that I started increasing on my income. So it worked out pretty good for me. I used whatever I had.
So, has your service influenced your thinking about war, about the military in general?
I'll tell you, the service didn't influence me at all. The people in the service influenced me. The service is just like a spoon. It don't do nothing for you. But the one that handles the spoon, that influences you. And that's what it is. That's you get the NCOs and you get the good commanders. And that's what you get. That influences you and your purpose in life. Now, I believe in peace. Most peace. But I also believe in fighting for what I got. Fight for peace. Not just let somebody else go out and do it or expect everybody to, okay, well, everybody say peace and that'll be it, because it doesn't work that way. What happens, always somebody trying to get a piece of your peace. And I ain't coming on that.
So speaking of that, did you ever have any negative experiences with the peace movement in the United States when you came home from the Army?
No, that's all it was, negative. I came back in 64, my final. No, I came back before that. I came back in 68, 69. And I was requested to leave Vietnam because of my unaccepted behavior. Anyway, I came back, got some training, but as I came off the plane, I had all these mop heads and all those assholes out there, excuse my English, all those jerks out there that were throwing stuff at me, stop the war, this, that. I ain't got no choice in the matter. I was doing my duty for my country. And they kept on throwing stuff, spitting at me and everything else. I was really angry. And one of the lieutenants told me, says, when you get in there, says, change your uniform, get out of your uniform. I said, ain't no way I'm going to get out of my uniform. I fight too hard for this uniform. So I didn't get out of my uniform. So that was my first trip. The second trip was when I left for good in 1972. In 72 I left there, but I had the intelligence and knowledge from my previous trip there. So I got me a handful of darts, and I stuck them into the undesirable stuff. Then when I got off that plane, they were all there along the chain link fence. I just started throwing my darts across. None of them hit the fence. So those were my experiences. After that, I got into the airplane, the airport, and I was going down there and had a couple of kids, 2 or 3 hippies following me, and they were talking their stuff and everything else. So I tried to bypass them and get away from them. And I went down, and all of a sudden, boom, I turned around, it was dead end. So I had to turn around and leave again. They were all 3 of them there laughing and all kinds of stuff, you know. And I looked behind them, there was 2 cops that were following him also. And the 2 cops turned around, they seen I was cornered. And I had no choice. They looked at me, looked at them, they just turned around and walked away. So I had my picnic.
Same kind.
I didn't take my uniform off. I'm determined.
So is it the same picnic? Is that the same term you used in Vietnam? And did you had a picnic?
Yeah, I learned how to handle picnics.
Now, from your service, were you awarded any medals or citations?
Oh,
I see
yeah.
one on your shirt already.
I got a whole bunch of them. Well, let's say the first one was a Silver Star, the highest one. Silver Star. And that one there was given to me when Stevens got shot. That machine gun ambush and all that. I saved the rest of the team, and that's why they gave me the Silver Star. The Bronze Star, one of them was when I was over in Laos, when I got shot up there, they gave me the Bronze Star with a V. Then Delta Project gave me a Bronze Star for recovering teams and stuff like that. I got in the way 4 times. So I got 4 Purple Hearts. And then I had my national defense, I got one from Korea and one from the United States. I mean, for Vietnam. And then the Army Commendation. I don't remember everything. But I know I have one for a V. That was with B-36. I had one for the V there, and then I had another one for meritorious service, I guess. I had good conduct. 4 from the Army. That's skill. They didn't catch me one time. All that recon paid off. Then I had one from the Marine Corps while I was serving in the Marine Corps. So, and then I had air medals for all my flights that didn't quite finish. I had an I, and then I have a V on one of those. At Vietnam service, I had 2 Silver Stars, 3 Bronze Stars on it. There's a lot of tent fences and stuff like that. I was there for a lot of activities, 5 years. And then I had a Croix de Guerre from the Vietnamese as a division level, which is supposed to be pretty nice, I guess. Yeah, but those are the ones. I got, of course, got CIB, Combat Infantryman badge. I got my Master Jump Wings. I got my Air Medal. I got what they call it, Halo badge, high altitude low opening parachutist. I got automatic weapons. Got a lot of patches, and I got a lot of friends.
Now, you said you were wounded a few times. Do you still suffer from any of those injuries?
Hmm?
You said you were wounded 4 times. Do you still suffer from those injuries?
Yeah. It don't go away. Some of the shrapnel still in me. It don't go away. And my left leg just doesn't function like it used. I went airborne after, just to spite. Nobody's gonna say no. But I did. I went airborne after that with that leg. But there's ways of compensating for different falls. Do a PLF, You either go right, left, forward, twist. So you just twist for my right leg. My left leg is getting carried. That's why. Old Indian trick.
And now, how about more unseen wounds? Post-traumatic stress. Do you feel like you suffer from that?
That happens because of my buddies. Stevens is one of them. A guy named Pete Botts. He was a camp engineer at Delta Project, and we went to training group together. And he insisted on going to recon. And I told him, you got the whole camp for me to take care of and all that. He said, you got to talk to me for a second. I said, you've got to talk for me. Because they needed some kind of a sponsor to get into the project, into the recon part of it. And I told him, it's not my bag to do this, you know. So he bugged me, and that guy came over at night, in the middle of the night, on my case, something terrible. Finally, he persuaded me. I said, okay, just get him off my ass, you know. And when we lost him, we lost a lot. So that stayed with me. A lot of nights I go in. A lot of nights I go in the hole to find them. Not there. That's all for that.
You're keeping him alive in your memory.
Huh?
And I said you keep him alive in your memory. And in your heart.
All of them. Well, great. I watch your dog. What, friend?
All right,
Huh?
you're way too quiet.
She knows something's wrong. She's quiet.
Yeah.
So, did you join any veterans organizations? Speaking of that
Oh,
brotherhood,
yes,
speaking
a lot
of that
of them.
friendship.
I'm a veterans athlete, which means that a lot of veterans come to see me for different help. A lot of Korean veterans need help. They need help with that because a lot of them had their records when they came back in Korea sent to the archives and they got burnt.
Right.
They ain't got proof, one, of what happened. Not one. And they can't find it. And instead of trying to help them, they just push them aside. I got one right now I'm working on. It's crazy. And then got those advocates. I belong to the American Legion, VFW, the 10 Special Forces Organization, the Purple Heart Association. I belong to all those organizations. I'm not always an active member in all of them, but the ones I can work with, I work with because they need it. They need help, and it keeps me on my toes and away from mama.
Thank you.
No, not that, but that does keep me on my toes. I belong to the French organization in Waterbury there, the one that was at the CCSU. I belong to the St. James there, Franco War Veterans Association.
That's right.
And so I belong to a lot of organizations. I think we have to get involved because not too many people are doing it. They all want a hand. They all have a handout, but they don't have a hand up.
So, what kinds of activities or sponsorships do these groups offer to veterans?
Pardon?
What kind of sponsorships or scholarships do these groups
we
offer
go
to
to
veterans?
we went to UConn. That French group there, they give out every year they give some scholarship to the students. Well, they don't have to be big famous names and all that, or really on top of their class like the Peak and all that, but they have to be patriotic and they have to be willing to serve. That's what they got to do. And we can check it out.
Now, while you were overseas, I know you have quite a few photographs. Did you keep a personal diary?
And not a personal diary, no. I moved around so many times. I got shot up and moved, and everybody took my stuff. I don't have nothing, not even time of day. The only thing I have is some of the pictures here that I had, and what I earned, you know. But we got with special ops pictures, and some of the guys gave me, except for that one big folder. That's all of my awards and decoration paperwork and a few pictures in there. But as far as pictures, I got pictures, but this is all, most of it is what I got from somebody else. You know, I didn't have all that much. I try to keep my portfolios handy, but it was tough. Do that
can
much
imagine.
moving. Plus, I lived with my mother when I left. Then I moved with my sister later. Then I left there. I got married. And yeah. And so moving around a lot.
So how often do you keep in contact with your former Special Forces buddies?
Geez, every day.
Oh, wow.
Every day. We got a website, Delta Project website. That I have most of their email. I got one in Lakeland, Florida. They're all over the place, but I keep in touch with all of them, all that I know of. Put it that way, and I got a long list. They're good men. I'll tell you that without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. They accumulate that way. They made themselves that way. They weren't forced to do anything. They weren't made to do anything. It came out of their heart. Just like JFK said.
The sponsor of the Green Berets. That's
Yeah.
very appropriate. Now, are there any stories or anything else you'd like to add to the interview that comes to mind that we haven't discussed so far?
Well, I'll put it this way. That was pretty much the combat stuff and all that stuff. Today, now, the way we are, like you say, you know, the might keep in contact, yes. We have 2 conventions every year that we call it conventions. They're reunions more than anything else. And the one this year is going to be at in Florida, Disney World, Florida. This one in June. In September, we have one every year over in Vegas. And when we get together there, we get together. And it's good because we look at our list of people who are leaving us, and we got that, like that book we have there, that tells you they're going fast. They're not young anymore. They're up in the mid-70s, upper 80s, or mid-80s. It's our turn. It's a matter of time. So that's why I'm glad you took the opportunity to interview me before my time comes.
The pleasure is all mine, and may I add that thank you very much for your service. It's
my
very
pleasure,
appreciated.
I did it in a selfish manner.
Well, you couldn't be president.
Pardon?
Well, you couldn't be president. So
Yeah, I could
So-
probably, but
so you figured you'd be
Yeah.
a Green Beret.
too much headaches.
Well, thank you again, Mr. St. Laurent.
My
We
pleasure.
truly do appreciate your service.
It's always a pleasure. I like to talk to young men. I learn more from them than they realize.